Hey you guys, welcome to another episode of the Beauty Business Babes podcast. This is your girl Kelly Callahan, and today we're going to be talking about the barrier between you and your goals. Warning, this may trigger some people. This may trigger some people, and if you are triggered, I am not sorry, because sometimes we just need to hear it. It's sometimes things that I don't want to hear. So the first thing I ask myself, is this for real? Because obviously it's their perception, their opinion, but is this actual truth? Can I resonate with what they're saying right now? Can I see myself like that? Because I know I'm not perfect, right? No one's perfect. Sometimes those conversations are things that you need to hear. So I invite you to continue listening, but keep an open mind. Keep an open mind that, this may be things that are being brought to my awareness right now because maybe it's a sign to change something. Or maybe it's something that you didn't even know was happening and you're like, holy shit, I just had an aha moment. And now because you are aware of it, now you can change. Now you can make strides. Now you can do something different and potentially change your life, okay? The hardest conversations are sometimes the most life-changing. So with that being said, let's get started. Mindset. Mindset is the number one culprit that is the obstacle keeping you away from your goals. And I know for a fact that someone somewhere out there that's listening to this is like, here we go with the mindset shit again, right? Girl, you got to change your mindset. No, but seriously, right? So a lot of people are like, mindset, whatever, it's all fluff. I've heard this. These same people, okay, months or years later, come back to me, or I see them talking about it on social media where they're like, I thought this was fluff. One of them even commented on this podcast, left a negative review and was like, she talks about fluff all the time, to find out literally months later, she was like, oh, there's actually something to this. So I want you guys to remember this, all right? The mindset is really where the magic starts happening. And if you guys want a book recommendation that absolutely 100% changed my life, it is The Secret. And I know that this has been around for a long time. I actually read it when I was 21. And while I knew a lot of this kind of intuitively, it really did help me change my life, because while the intuition was there and it was kind of just something that I already kind of knew, it wasn't brought to my mind's awareness where I was like, oh, this is actually a thing that I have control over. It's something that I can manifest things into my life, or I can have a positive mindset to have a better life. I didn't know that a lot of my thoughts that were coming automatically to me were something that I could become more aware of and change if I wanted to. And so ever since I've learned about this and just mindset and the law of attraction and all these things, it really has very much changed my life. I can't tell you how much it's changed my life, because it's just been so absolutely amazing. And I mean, it hasn't been all great. Nothing's all perfect and unicorns and rainbows, coming out of my butt and everything. But the truth of the matter is that it has changed my life in ways that I never thought would be possible. For example, living in Hawaii, starting my own business, getting that business to come to $750,000 that it is today. I guess I just wasn't aware when I was younger that those were all opportunities that I would be able to have. So it wasn't until I shifted my mindset that I was able to explore the world more and really play around with my life and say okay, I know now that I am the creator of my own destiny. And while I'll have obstacles and things that may happen, that may shift my goals for a while or permanently, I know that overall, for the most part, I'm in control of pretty much everything that happens in my life. So I take radical responsibility and ownership about seriously all the good, the bad, and the ugly that happens in my life, because it's just stuff that I feel like I manifest into my life. So with that comes a lot of power. So I know that if my business doesn't succeed, it's because of me. I know that if a friendship didn't work out, while that's like a partnership, I know that I had something to do with that, right? So it's really powerful once you really take ownership of your mindset and say, hey, these thoughts that may be negative aren't something that I have to own. So like those judgmental thoughts, those negative thoughts about yourself or about others, or just any type of like doubt or fear, I become like a third party observer. So I'm like right here on the outside looking in and saying, Kelly, that thought does not serve you. Please change this thought now. So then I transition that thought into something of, you know, a more exciting thing, or something, instead of saying like, I can't do that, I say I can do that, and let me figure out how to do that. So I hope that helps. The next thing on here kind of ties into that, and that is the belief that you have within yourself. So the barrier between you and your goals, really for me, I know this for a fact, is my own belief in self. So do I believe that I can attain, for example, my goal this year is to hit 1 million. Do I believe that I can do that? While fear and doubt and like butterflies go in my stomach when I think about this goal, because it is a stretch and because it is scary, I know that I've leaped quite a bit. You know, $250,000 is what it would take me to get to that goal. I have leaped that in a year. So I know that I can do this because it has been something that I've done before, and it's also been something that other people have done before. So with that being said, I know that I can do it, even if it is a little scary, or even if it does make me feel a little uncomfortable. I was actually speaking to a woman earlier today on the phone, Miss Renee, if you're listening, and we were talking about this, how the like anxiety and fear can be transitioned into excitement. And she was able to do this or learn about this through like mantra setting. So instead of saying like, oh, I'm scared to get on the phone, or I'm scared to get on stage, or I'm scared to do this video, whatever, say I'm excited to do it, because it actually activates the same exact part of your brain as the fear does. The excitement and the fear and anxiety are activating the same part of the brain. So you know, like, you can get into that mode of excitement. All you have to do is be mindful of it and say, I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this opportunity, or I'm excited for whatever the case may be. The next thing on here is to really ditch the excuses, is something that I love to say a lot. And it's true in so many ways, but in the beginning of your journey, and what I see from a lot of people that I work with and talk to, you know, we create excuses for everything. I can have an excuse for literally everything and anything. I'm a very good excuse maker. However, I'm also aware that I'm making excuses, and so I don't allow myself to verbalize that, or I shift it from I can't do this to I won't do this. So instead, like for me, it's the gym. Oh my God, it's the gym. But right now I'm trying to get back into it. I'm like, I just can't. I don't want to. And what I've realized within myself is like when I say I don't want to, it feels bad. Like I'm doing something wrong. So therefore I'm more motivated to actually go and just get it done, right? So I have to have that little talk within myself. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about here is like those excuses of not knowing, for example, like if you want to start a business, you're like, I don't know how to do the next step, or I don't know how to start a business, or I don't know how to market, or I've never done this before, or just not knowing, like that's a huge excuse in itself. And while it can be a somewhat valid excuse, we don't really have a huge excuse anymore with things like the online space or Wi-Fi or the internet, right? So you can figure it out. So you need to take initiative in order to figure whatever it is out, whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's creating an online course, creating events, starting your own product line, for example. Like, don't let the excuse of not knowing the next step stop you. Figure it out. Like everything is figure outable. This is what Marie Forleo says, and I really love that. I remind myself of that. I'm pretty good at taking initiative and taking action and figuring shit out, but like there are moments in time where I'm like, wow, that seems like such a big thing to figure out that I can't. And I become, again, aware of that. And I'm like, no, That is not true. That is a limiting belief. That is a lie that I'm telling myself. And then I start doing research, and honestly, most of the time it's actually a lot easier than what I thought it was going to be. The thing with today's society is we want things like right this second. You know, Amazon Prime, it's not like fast enough, it comes the next day. For example, like you just want the answers given to you, or you feel like entitled to know without having to pay someone, which kind of goes into my own thing and this next section of what I wanted to talk about, like not wanting to invest in getting assistance. This is holding you back because if you don't know the answers, you either need to figure it out on your own, and a lot of the times the free resources out there aren't really going to give you enough information. It'll get you going in the right direction, but it's not going to give you the exact information that you need. So it is important to identify what your needs are, and to, if you need to, invest in a mentor, coach, training program, class, whatever, in order to get there. And the excuse that I hear a lot is like, wow, $2,000 is a lot to start my business. And like, I have to giggle a little bit because I'm like, that is the cheapest business I've ever heard of, you know? And what spending my last $2,000 has given me is now a $750,000 a year business, which is way more than that $2,000. So you have to think about it as like the return on your investment. Like, this is a $2,000 investment, but what's my return going to be? I promise you, even if like you don't market that much, you're going to get that back. You're going to get that $2,000 back. You can't not get it back because it's really not that much money. So when it comes to you and your goals and what's holding you back, it's obviously like the knowledge, right? So if you can't figure it out on your own by YouTube, Google, whatever, you do need to invest. And I also want to just share one last thing when it comes to investing. Aside from thinking of this as an investment as opposed to a cost, I want to remind you that many people on this earth who have lived and are living currently have spent thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in schooling, at going to university, going to different places to get their degree, in which cases, like a lot of the time, they didn't actually pursue that particular degree, or that degree didn't do anything for them, but yet they were really quick to spend $100,000 on a degree to not do anything with it, but they didn't question that, right? But when it comes to like their business, or spending $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever it is, they do question that. So it's really your perception of belief of the value of what you're going to be getting with whatever it is that you're investing. I hope that makes sense. The next thing on here is just not being resourceful. So the thing that's holding you back from your goals is not being resourceful. If you don't have the money, you can figure it out. I've seen this happen over and over again where people are like, I don't have enough money to like start this business. Well, maybe it's not the right time for you to start the business. So maybe you should continue working the job that you're at right now and saving money until you can invest in your business, because starting a business is a long-term thing. It's not just short-term. You're always going to have to reinvest. So you have to be good with your money. Otherwise, it can run out very quickly. So the fact that you're not getting like a paycheck every 2 weeks for the most part, especially when you guys are just starting off, it's very like random and sporadic if you're not paying yourself, period. You're reinvesting into the business, right? So you have to be good with your money. You have to be resourceful. I always recommend, if you're trying to start a business now and you don't have the financial backing to do this, then look for financing. Go on PayPal. They have PayPal financing. It's like 0% for 6 months if you are approved over purchases $99 and more or something like that. So you guys can always check that out. The next thing here is not being consistent. So for you and your particular goals, if you are not being consistent, which is something that I think a lot of us struggle with, you are not going to be able to reap the rewards. You will not be able to eat the fruits in which you were laboring over the last 3, 6, 9, 12 months. Like, you will not be able to enjoy that because you have to be consistent. There's no way really around it unless you're already somebody who is an influencer, who has like a large following, in which case you still need to be consistent. But like maybe some weird scenarios happening in your life where you don't have to be consistent. I would love to hear about it. So if you want to share it with me, share it with me. But for the most part, 99.99999% of us, we have to be consistent with what we're doing and what we're offering. And one thing that I continue hearing and always hear whether it's like, I don't want to be annoying, or I don't want to like show face all the time, or I don't want to have to do this. Like there's easy ways to automate stuff so that way you are consistent. There's easy ways to do this without having to show face. There's easy ways to be consistent without having to like struggle so much with it. It all comes down to planning. You have to plan accordingly. So if you want to launch your business, if you want to promote your salon, you know, you have to do it in a consistent manner. Otherwise, with online marketing and with like social media marketing, if that's where you're putting all of your effort in, you're going to be forgotten about if you're not consistent. And that's the truth of the matter. And maybe it's not even social media marketing. Maybe it's something else, like newsletter marketing is what you're focused on. If you're not consistent, people will forget about you. The next thing is a huge one, and this is another barrier that is keeping us from our goals, I should say, is worrying about judgment and what other people think. This is probably like the #1 fear I hear when I talk to people who are looking to get into the industry, or people who are already in the industry and they want to learn how to like be on video, for example, or do social media marketing better. They have this fear that people are going to judge them. And it makes me really sad because I know more than probably anybody in the sunless industry that there are trolls out there. There are people that are out to get you. There are people that are not very nice. There are people that will steal from you. There are people that will backstab you. Like, I want to do an episode on like the ugly side of the business, because it is 1000% something that I feel like people should know going into this. And if I had known all of the stuff, like, trust me, I probably would have been a little bit more hesitant going into the business, but thankfully it has really strengthened me. Like, I know who I am, and I hope that you know with certainty who you are as a person. So if somebody wants to unfollow you because you're posting about your business, or if somebody doesn't jive with what you're saying, like, understand that you are not for everybody. And actually what I learned through Tony Robbins is, if you're polarizing, you're doing something right, which I consider myself to be a very polarizing person. People either love me or they freaking hate me, and that's okay. Like, I'm not here to entertain or share my story or help everyone. And I get that, and I'm okay with that, truly. One thing that I will say is, like, this has helped me personally a lot, is like understanding that I really am secure with the person that I am. I know me better than anybody else out there trying to tell me who I am. Like, I know that I can sleep well at night because I do the right thing. I know that I hold myself to a high standard when it comes to dealing with different people. And while I'm not perfect, I definitely have reacted in ways that were not the best when it comes to trolling and things like this. I know now, like, not to react at all. You know, that's like one of the biggest lessons that I've had through this journey. And while you know that you probably want everyone to like you, or you might want everyone to acknowledge you and appreciate you, going into it knowing that that's really not probably going to be the case, you're going to run into somebody who doesn't agree with you or like you, will help you understand that, like, you're doing this for the right reasons. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your family. There's a bigger thing at play when it comes to the reason why you are promoting your business or why you're going after your dreams. Understanding this, keeping your why focused, like, right here and centered. You know that you're doing this because you're a good human. You know you're doing this because you want a better life for yourself, because you want a better life for your family, because you want to do more things with your friends, have free time, travel the world. You want to start your business or go after your dreams because you just want a better life. Like, understanding that and knowing that, like, you're not gonna fuck anybody over through the process, that has helped me relieve myself of anybody else's judgment, because I know with 100% certainty who the fuck I am. And nobody, especially somebody who sees me online, 1% of my life online, can tell me otherwise, because I know what I do. They don't see the charity work. They don't see all the background stuff that I do and how hard I work. They only have their own perception of me, which is really not true. And that comes with like good or bad people, like their perception, because they're only seeing 1% of it. It's not real. They don't know me, you know, like they don't know who you are. So I know this can be a little bit scary to put yourself out there, but like, honestly, who cares? They're not living your life. They're not paying your bills. You're not gonna die with them, you know, whatever. Like, let them be mean girls and trolls and whatever, and you just do you, okay? All right, so the next thing is not to take yourself so seriously. So the next point is between that, the barrier that is keeping you from your goals is not taking yourself or your business seriously. So like maybe you're doing this as a hobby. Maybe you're doing this as something that like you just really don't care about. You don't have the heart. You're just doing this half-ass. Girl, just don't even do it. Like seriously, I don't want to like deter anyone away from their goals, but like obviously that's not a huge goal of yours, because once you identify your goal and you're like, yes, that is the goal. That is what I want in my life. And once you have that vision, honestly, dude, nothing can stop you except for you. But on the other side of that, if you are not taking yourself seriously, if you're like, yeah, I want to start a business like someday, and like you don't really have a clear vision of what that is, maybe like one day you want to like create pens, the next day you want to create fake flowers, the next day you want to start creating like water bottles. Like if you don't have like a clear vision of what aligns with you and like what you're like, yes, fuck yes, this is great, I can't wait, I'm excited. Like that's really what pulls my motivation out, is because I am so fuck yes about my business and I take myself very seriously. I take my business very seriously, and like sometimes a little too seriously, to be honest. Like I wish I was like, I had like a little bit more fun with it, but like I do have fun with it. I take it so seriously that I'm like, everything has to be like perfect now, you know? And I was never like that before, but as I've grown as an entrepreneur, like it's really something that is important for me to have products and all these like marketing things and everything like really, really professional. So it's helped me elevate, and I know that taking yourself seriously will help you elevate as an entrepreneur 100%. The last thing here is consuming too much stuff. So another barrier is basically like wasting time on things that you don't need to be researching, wasting time on like TV even, wasting time on consuming shit that you don't need to be worrying about, that's not taking you to that next level, that's not taking you closer to your goals. So if you are an avid TV watcher, if you are watching like Breaking Bad, if you're watching like Kardashians, or I don't know what other things that you guys watch, you're all watching all that all day long, like trust me, that is deterring you from your goals. It's not allowing you to move further faster. And when it comes to most things that I do in my life, I'm like, is this taking me towards my goal or is this taking me away from my goal? And of course, you need some time to not be so goal oriented, and that's fine. But if you're serious about this and you're ready to take your shit to the next level, whatever energy you have needs to be poured. It needs to be poured into the goal, and you really have to have some sort of structure and intention with your time and your energy, so that way you can put forth that effort to get you to that next level. All right, so start taking action. Stop consuming so much shit. All right. Whew, that was a long episode, you guys, longer than normal. So I hope that you guys love this episode. If you did, please review it. Let me know how much you loved it or what you loved about it. And if you want to chat with me on Instagram, I'm always there at @IM_Kelly Ann. Would love to chat with you guys there. Thank you guys so much for listening. I love you guys long, long, long time.